Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. What a game, guys. What a game. I mean, that's really all you can say. That's really all you can say. Could you have asked for a better ending to this historic FCS spring season? I mean, I know I couldn't have. We knew this national championship between Sam Houston State and South Dakota State was going to be an instant classic. It had all the makings for an instant classic. And that's exactly what it was. It was Sam Houston State's passing attack versus South Dakota State's rushing attack. Sam Houston State's offense versus South Dakota State's defense. That was one of the best in the entire country. Both were in their respective categories. And at the end of it all, guys, it was an instant classic. A game that came down to the final seconds, but a game where the Bearkats of Sam Houston State emerged victorious, winning their first ever national title in program history, defeating the number one overall seed, Jackrabbits, 23-21, and capping off a perfect 10-0 season. Something that's extremely impressive in and of itself, but something that's even more impressive that they did it in the middle of a pandemic. They did it in the spring, a spring season that we have never had before, and hopefully we never have to deal with again. So guys, we're here to briefly recap this FCS National Championship game, how great it was. Credit to both teams and what they did. And I want to start with South Dakota State, just a brief recap on their end. We got to give credit where it's due. We're going to talk plenty about Sam Houston State, the champions, but let's give credit to the Jackrabbits. First off, on an unreal season, unbelievable season for them, but an unreal game as well, because when you lose your starting quarterback and Mark Gronowski, just like the Jackrabbits did, when you lose your star quarterback on the first drive of the national championship game, for many teams, that would derail any chance you had of winning the game, especially against such a great opponent in Sam Houston State. But the Jackrabbits didn't really flinch. You know, this was a game that was very sloppy, tons and tons of rain. It was like a monsoon, so much so that we had a complete weather delay, guys, a little over an hour, almost 2-hour-long weather delay in this national championship game. So that made this game even more special and chaotic than it already was. But for South Dakota State, they lose their star quarterback in Mark Gronowski. And everybody thinks they're done for. But they went back to what they're good at, and that's running the football. So yes, so unfortunate. We hope Gronowski's okay. He's going to make a full recovery. Hope he's going to be all right. And we hate to see him get put out of a game that he helped get this team to. You know, Gronowski does all this stuff as a freshman quarterback, gets him, and on the first drive gets taken out. You truly hate to see that for any player, for that matter. But South Dakota State went back to what they were good at, and that was running the football. This team trailed Sam Houston State 17-7 entering the fourth quarter, and that's when Isaiah Davis really put the team on his back. Running back Isaiah Davis put the team on his back. He finished the day with 14 carries, just 14 carries, for 178 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of which came in the fourth quarter. 178 yards, 3 touchdowns on just 14 carries, including an unbelievable 85-yard touchdown run that gave the Jackrabbits a 21-17 lead with 5:41 remaining in the game. If you haven't seen that run, if you didn't see that run, go back and watch it. Unbelievable effort. And once again, showing why Davis is one of the best running backs in the entire country. So your star quarterback goes down. Jackrabbits say, no worries, we've got this. They put so much work into that and relied on the run game, and Isaiah Davis did everything he could to lead his team to victory. But the problem for South Dakota State was their miscues. They had opportunities to win this game, and when you look at the final score and you say, man, 23-21, 2-point game, you look at all the miscues, what could have been for the Jackrabbits. First off, after taking an early 7-0 lead, Sam Houston State fumbles the punt, mishandles the punt. South Dakota State recovers inside Sam Houston State's 20, picks up 2 yards on that drive, lines up for a field goal, mishandles the field goal, comes away empty-handed. Miscue number 1. Miscue number 2 was late in the second quarter, missing a 43-yard field goal. So right there, it's potentially 6 points they left on the board, and then near the end of the third quarter, about 5-6 minutes left in the third quarter, they turned the ball over on downs, went for it on 4th and 2 from the Sam Houston State 33-yard line, and failed to pick it up. Maybe they pick it up and get a touchdown out of it. Maybe they get a field goal out of it. Maybe they still get nothing. But right there, 3 huge opportunities for the Jackrabbits that they failed to capitalize on, and give tons of credit to Sam Houston State's defense that, again, we talked and praised about all year long, was so underrated for coming up with those big stops, for holding them to those field goal attempts and not touchdowns, especially one where South Dakota State started off in the red zone. So the Jackrabbits had their opportunities. They make one of those field goals, they win the game by 1. Again, it just shows how every little play, every little instance can have a complete impact on the final outcome of a game, especially a national championship game at that. So again, all the credit in the world to South Dakota State, all the credit in the world to their coaches, their players, a young team at that. This is the team that will be back, a team that people are not going to overlook anymore. Not that they were in the past. But all the credit in the world to them for an unbelievable season, an unbelievable game, considering all the circumstances. But you look at Sam Houston State. We mentioned that unbelievable run by Isaiah Davis that put the Jackrabbits up by 4 with 5:41 left. And at that point, a lot of people were getting nervous. But I don't think Sam Houston State was. Because the Bearkats at that point in time were about to go do something that they've done all playoff long. They were going to come from behind and win the game. Look at what they've done, first off, against the teams they beat. First off, let's talk about the run they've had. They beat North Dakota State, James Madison, and South Dakota State. Good Lord, that's a gauntlet. Unbelievable gauntlet of a playoff run, and they beat every single one of those teams to win the national championship. I don't know if there's any other team that could do that. I really don't. I don't know if there's any other team out there that could beat those 3 teams that are consistently, year in and year out, one of the top 3 teams, some of the top 3 teams in the entire country. Sam Houston State beat all of them. But you look at the game against North Dakota State, they were up 17-2, blew that lead, trailed 20-17 with 8:17 left in the game. Ended up scoring a game-winning touchdown with 3:39 left to win, 24-20. Against James Madison, the Bearkats trailed 24-3 at halftime. Battled all the way back and won 38-35. And today, trailed with 5:41 remaining. What did they do? They went on a 16-play, 65-yard drive that included 2 crucial 4th down conversions before Eric Schmid, who threw for 209 yards and 3 touchdowns, connected with Ife Adeyi on a 10-yard strike on 3rd and goal with 16 seconds left to put the Bearkats up for good. If you go back and watch that touchdown, guys, it was like triple coverage. You had a guy here, here, and here, and Adeyi just slipped right in between them, right there in the end zone, right there at the goal line to go down with the game-winning touchdown with 16 seconds remaining. An unbelievable drive that will go down in Sam Houston State history as the best and the biggest, the most important, the most historic drive in program history. It was unreal. 2 critical 4th down conversions, 16 plays, 65 yards. A team that relies so heavily on the home run ball and on the big play finally slowed down, took their time, milked the clock, and got the game-winning touchdown on 3rd and goal, mind you. And you look at this, guys, Eric Schmid deserves all the credit in the world. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the country all year long. We've talked about that. Ife Adeyi deserves a lot of credit, obviously, for catching the game-winning touchdown. What an amazing feeling, an amazing moment for him. But there's one guy that we haven't even mentioned yet. He's been the XFactor, I think, all playoff long for Sam Houston State, and that's Jaquez Ezzard. He deserves all the credit. He single-handedly changed the game last week against James Madison. He is the reason that the Bearkats came back and beat the Dukes. But in this championship game against South Dakota State, Ezzard was on the receiving end of one of those 4th down conversions, the one with 34 seconds left that got the Bearkats to the 10-yard line. 34 seconds left that got them to the 10-yard line, setting up 1st and goal, and of course scoring just 2 plays later. Ezzard had 10 receptions for 108 yards, 2 touchdowns in this national championship game. He has been Eric Schmid's favorite target all year long, and no one has been able to stop him. He was the X Factor. He was the MVP of this national championship game, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. One of, if not the best receiver in the FCS. Can do it, obviously, on the receiving end. Major special teams threat as well. Actually had a punt return for a touchdown in this game. They got called back for, I believe it was blocking the back. That was towards the end of the 1st quarter. So an unreal performance from Sam Houston State, guys. Again, trailed against North Dakota State. Came back and won the game. Trailed against James Madison. Came back and won the game. Trailed a little over 5 minutes left in this national championship against South Dakota State, the number 1 seed, came back and won the game in the final seconds. And again, you can't ask for anything better than that. You couldn't have asked for a better game. You couldn't have asked for a better ending. Whether you were a Jackrabbits fan, whether you are a Bearkats fan, yes, it hurts if you're a Jackrabbits fan, I get it. But for the last bit of college football we're going to have for a few months, you could not have asked for a better way for it to go down. So again, guys, congratulations to the Sam Houston State Bearkats. They were the number 2 seed entering the playoffs, survived one of the toughest slates of the FCS playoffs I think I've ever seen. Maybe just completed the most historic FCS playoff run that we've ever seen. They are the kings of the FCS, the 2021 national champions. And guys, they're going to be the favorites going into next year. Schmid will be back. Their running back, Ramon Jefferson, will be back. A lot of guys coming back for this fall, potentially fall season. The Bearkats are going to be one of the favorites, if not the favorite, entering next year. South Dakota State, Gronowski was just a freshman. He'll be back. He'll be fully healthy. The Jackrabbits are going to be back and a heavy favorite. Don't sleep on North Dakota State. The Bison will be back. If you didn't know anything about FCS football prior to this spring season, we hope you do now. Because this is some legit football. Some have said the FCS is the heart and soul of college football. And I'm telling you guys, there's some real good players and some real good talent to come out of the FCS. Some legitimate games to come out of the FCS. They don't need to be overlooked anymore. And after what we've seen in 2021 with this spring season and what just happened in this national championship game, the landscape of the FCS is changing right before our eyes. And if that doesn't get you excited, well, I don't know what will. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Thank you so much. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and also make sure to check out everything down in the description below. We have so much exclusive content down there for you guys. Our Gridiron Expert podcast, the Gridiron Expert website, our Patreon account, all of those things down in the description. And also, make sure to hit that notification button because we're going to pick up our schedule previews again tomorrow, working through our top 25 teams. And you don't want to miss out on those. So hit that notification button, hit that bell so you don't miss a single channel or single video that we post here to the channel, because I promise you're not going to want to miss it, especially as we get into prediction season and well into the fall season as well. So make sure to do that. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.